Coming up here on the Braves Sports Network on this Monday night, we have the Cedric Thomas Show. The Braves coming off a huge win over Grambling. The first time that we've won in the hole since 2006. The Braves remain undefeated, and it sets up a first-place matchup down on the bluff at Southern University on homecoming. We'll talk all about it as we take this 30-second timeout. We'll be right back. We'll be taking your questions, your comments, your texts, your tweets, the full 9 yards. We'll get to it after this timeout on the Braves Sports Network.
Founded in 1920, the Southwestern Athletic Conference has produced some of the most iconic names in sports. Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Alcorn State, Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M, Grambling State, Jackson State, Mississippi Valley State, Prairie View A&M, Southern, Texas Southern, and the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff have united to embark on a new era of greatness. The Southwestern Athletic Conference, building champions for life.
Alcorn provides our students with the knowledge, the skills, and the attitudes they need.
Tonight we have the Cedric Thomas program from the beautiful campus here in our studio at Alcorn State University. Glad you can join us as we're going to talk about the big win over Grambling, the first at Grambling since 2006. We'll break it all down, highlights, we'll talk all about it, and then we'll look ahead to the Jaguars. You can give us a call, 601-877-6595. You can text a question, 601-301-2611 on X, Tall Man Radio. Glad you can join us on the Braves Sports Network, 91.7 WPRL and WPRL.org, 97.7 WMIS, 1240 AM WTYJ, Fayette Natchez, NatchezRadio.com. We are also on YouTube, Brave Sports Network. So we'll talk all about this one, and we'll get ready for a big game against Southern University down on the bluff. It doesn't get any bigger than this. It's going to be a huge weekend in the conference. You got two first-place battles. On the eastern side, it'll be Jackson State and FAMU. Then our game in the nightcap at 6 o'clock. So we'll talk all about it. We'll take a break right here. We'll be right back after this with the Cedric Thomas Show here on the Brave Sports Network.
Here at Alcorn, we understand that we share some commonalities with one another, so in some ways we're already family.
Seeing everybody, seeing more people that looked like me and had the same mannerisms as me, it was fantastic.
The variety of people here really made me feel at home.
When I stepped on campus, it felt like I was supposed to be here.
When they say the grass is greener here, they really mean it.
Welcome you back to the Cedric Thomas program here on the Braves Sports Network. Glad you can join us, ladies and gentlemen. It's a good day to be a Brave, a good week to be a Brave, a first-place ball club, and we got to roll into the Jaguar Nation on Saturday. Glad you can join us as we talk about the Grambling game. Let's recap that action. What a tilt, what a game, a low-scoring game. I didn't expect that. I expected it to be kind of high-scoring back and forth, but it was a chess match. Back and forth, low scoring, and Noah Kiani's field goal, and the Braves win it by the score of 17-15. So we'll talk all about it here with Braves head football coach Cedric Thomas. Coach Thomas, how you doing, sir?
Doing blessed, Mr. Charles.
Let me ask you an obvious question, an interesting question. So let's go over the last 48 hours. Victory over Grambling, first since 2006. Defensive Player of the Week against Damarian Edwards. Undefeated in the conference, first place, and your birthday weekend on Sunday. Out of all of that, Coach, kind of list that, which is the most important of what we are dealing with the last 24 or 48 hours there?
Life. That the day I was born, and was blessed to have a presence on this universe, mean everything for me. My sister came down from Colorado. My mom got a chance to see her and fellowship with her a little bit. And so it's just a blessing to be here. And at the end of the day, I talk about putting my feet on the floor, and I got breath in my lungs. I got an opportunity to be a servant of others, and so everything just fall in line from that. And so, it was good that all the rest of it happened, but it was more so for everybody else. Me just being a steward and being steadfast in my conviction to help others, and I just had to sometimes step out the picture, see the frame, and the frame for me was always success, and just doing things the right way. So it was just good to see all the followers, all the faithful ones who just impacted these guys' lives, and for them to just go out and be able to do it, to see what it looked like, and then get that success was really just to cap the whole weekend off, Mr. Charles.
Well, we just talked before we went on the air. You left Friday and you went to Grambling to kind of go through a little walkthrough and to go down in the hole, to go down the hill. And some players hadn't experienced that, and that I couldn't do that. I'm not in any kind of shape to do that, but it's a little bit different. Most places you step right out of the locker room onto the field. You got to walk up that hill and had to deal with all of that. You felt like that was an important experience in terms of helping you get through the game, just having to go through that little process.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the mental wheelchairs we just had to get out of, because if you hadn't been there for the first time, I can remember my first time going as a player after playing in Shreveport against them, but also my first time as a coach, and it's almost like when we gonna get there? Have we got there yet? And so I just
are we there yet?
Yeah, I knew it. Once I talked to Leroy and he kind of set the schedule together, I was like, look, regardless of where we dressing, we gonna step down. We're gonna see it. We're gonna be there. And kudos to Coach Joseph. He allowed me to. Said it wasn't no problem. There'll be in meetings. And so we pulled up, and the guys, you could just see it in their eyes when they had to see the hill. Most of them were standing up on the top, and I'm like, man, come on, man, we gotta go. Let's go down there. So as they walking down, they seeing it. It's like, man, it takes 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes to go from the locker room to the concrete slab and down to the field. And I can hear them mumbling saying, man, we going to come up for halftime. And I'm thinking, yeah, we're going to come up. They got to come up also. But I thought that was huge just to be able to find the landscape of how the operational piece goes from getting from the locker room on that slab and then down to that field. And I thought that was the icebreaker, just to get that mental block out the way.
And so it was some football game. The Braves get it done winning 17-15. I want to start with Coach with the post game. After the game, you talk with our Cedric Tillman, and he asked you how big was this game, and here were your thoughts.
Man, huge, and it ain't got nothing to do with me. It got everything to do for everybody that's been associated with this great institution. I'm just a small, minute part of it. But these kids, man, the wherewithal losing 55 or whatever against McNeese and UA.
So the emotion behind that a little bit. There was some emotion, I thought, behind that. Just talk about what that meant to you. It was a huge win, first time since 2006. I got the sense that I could detect a little bit of emotion in your voice.
Yeah, and just listening to it, it's still, it rings the same for me because it's about them. I can take all the criticism. I'm a big boy. I've been doing this a long time. But, I'm just trying to barricade them from the whether constructive criticism or criticism period, to make sure that those little brains sometimes don't process the way we do as grown people. So when you say certain things and you got that impact on them, they don't always decipher that as being positive. And so I just wanted to do a really good job of closing them inside of what in our utopia, and there's some people that really care. But just making sure they had a clear head. So for me, it's just to be able to be a shepherd to them, to make sure, hey, look, we lay the landscape out them, and for them to see all that to come to fruition. That was that. And like we said off the air, Mr. Charles, I'm a swag dude. So when Mr. Rob, Coach Rob say he's swag, that's what that's about. It's about them young guys who go down in history, at that small stage in their career, knowing that, hey, they did something special in a legendary place.
It's many a player that walked up and down that hill, and the first time since 2006 that we walked up that hill victorious.
Yeah, and they didn't understand it at the moment, but after the fact, they was like, Coach, man, it's been that long, and I'm like, yeah, it's been that long, and so just for them to be able to do that, it would always resonate with them for the rest of their lives.
Well, let's talk about the game. It was a low-scoring game, Coach, and I thought it would be kind of back and forth. I thought the game would be kind of like last year, 25-24 when they came here. I thought it would be a little similar to that, but it was a low-scoring game. So let's get into it, Coach. Grambling won the toss, deferred to the second half. So we got the football at our 25-yard line, and after a 51-yard punt, Grambling got the football their first drive at the 15-yard line, and the first deal with the officials, and I know we'll talk about that. Some interesting calls, even a delay game on our defense. We'll talk about that. But after a punt, we were called for kick-catch interference. Coach, talk about that.
Yeah, I thought he made the fair catch signal really late. You know, those guys are playing at a high level. They trying to go down and make a play on the football, and you know, it was just one of those things that happened that, you know, I didn't feel like, you know, was warranted, but, you know, they called it, so it is what it is.
So with that, Grambling got the football at the 37-yard line. And you look at that situation, Coach. 1st and 10 at Grambling's 37. We got the football with the 10:58 left in the first quarter, and on a 4th down and 6, you talk about a field goal attempt there, Coach. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we wanted to get him out, you know, a little bit late, so we can just kind of go into his routine and get it off. But didn't do a good job from an operational standpoint. We knew Keanu. He had already told me what his distance was like, and so we just got to clean up the operation. You know, the long snapper, Jason snapped it a little bit early. The guys wasn't set, you know, and we just going to keep on harping on it. You know, you can't make mistakes like that when it comes to playoff football. And so, you know, he kicked it low, didn't get enough on it, but we just got to clean up the operation.
So before every game, you and Keanu talk about, with the wind and everything, the range in terms of what he can do and the strength of his leg.
Yeah, and what has. You know, he's been doing it a long time, so he's going to give me all that intel right before we, you know, get kicked off. And he had gave me that landmark, which was a good spot, but he just didn't get enough on it. And Jason kind of, you know, snapped it a little bit too early, so he didn't get himself set. And then you saw him slip. That turf, man, it's been like that for years. That thing, you got to have really good base, solid foundation, and you see him fall on the ground as his plant foot, you know, leave up under him.
So that was an opportunity there. Grambling gets the football with 9:37 left on a 4th down and 2 out of the shotgun. Talbert for a 1-yard gain. We get the football, Coach. Turnover on downs. Talk about defensively that 4th and 2 set.
You know, Coach Rowe did a really good job, you know, because he's been going against Dooley not only as a player but as a coach also. And he had some things that he knew that he liked to do on the short yardage standpoint. And those guys, they executed the call, and we was able to get a big-time stop.
So we got the football with exactly 7 minutes left in the first quarter at the 24-yard line. And 2 plays later, Corian Sewell for 63 yards and the touchdown. Talk about that.
Yeah, dynamic. You know, really good outside zone play. Back in the pistol, we knew that if we could cut the backside 3 technique off, we had a running lane. And you see Big Jack, he's still pushing the defensive end down the field. And we talked about, you know, Sewell making those big-time plays. You know, Valley got caught on that same kind of concept. But, you know, he's out to practice doing extra. And so he was able to just be able to accelerate and get that ball in the end zone. But kudos to the O-line and those guys, man, executing at a high level and creating running lanes for them.
Well, I want you to help clarify something for me, and I just found this out a little while ago. A little bird told me that the offensive line took this thing personal because I don't know what was on social media that someone said the Braves have the 2nd worst offensive line in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And after that run, the offensive line was just jubilant after that to prove that, hey, we are a lot better than what people think. We've had prior to this Grambling game, we rushed for 1,000 yards the last 4 games. And I understand there was some kind of jewelry or something that was worn. Did the offensive line kind of take that personal?
Yeah, they did. And the coach also. I didn't know until after the game. He come out his pants with a poster of some guy. And I'm like, what's that? You know, and he punching it. And like, you know, I'm like, wow. You know, I ain't on social media like that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
But when I saw it, I was like, oh, man, he had to been just trolling. Because we got one of the better offensive line, not only in 1AA, but I'll take them against a lot of people. And so, but that's for you to the fire. That was motivation. Coach, that was after the game, and Coach still had it in his pocket. So I knew it meant a lot to him.
Well, that was a heck of a run by Sewell, and I talked with him on the pregame. He said, "Man, we got some pretty good backs coming out of Adams County."
Yeah, we gonna and we want all of them. You know, as long as we get guys like Sewell, they're really good football players, but good people, raised right, take care of the academic component, and so we always want to have those guys a part of our program.
So it was a 7-0 Braves lead on the following Grambling possession with 6:15 left in the first. They got the football at their 22-yard line. They were able to get a field goal out of that, Coach, a 30-yard field goal to put Grambling on the board. Kind of a short field there, but, you know, they were able to get the field goal. On our defense, I thought did a nice job in locking down. They were looking for 7, but we held them a couple of field goals, and that was huge.
Yeah, they bowled their neck up front, man. They really played a really good, really good sound, physical brand of ball. That's a really good offense and scored a lot of points in those last couple games. And so for them guys to really just do excellent job just commanding the line of scrimmage and not letting guys score touchdowns, man, was awesome.
7-3 at that point. And then, Coach, we got the football at our 6-yard line. So obviously we were backed up Talk about that particular special team situation. Instead of letting it go out, we got it at the 6.
Yeah, you just bonehead mistake, bonehead mistake, and I'm like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of having to come on here. I'm tired of us going out to practice every day working this. So I got to make a change. We will go out in the morning. We'll do the exact same thing. But that can't cost us down the stretch, Mr. Charles. That hurts everybody. And we end up giving up 3 points because of that. And so it starts with me and it ends with me. So it'll be a personnel decision that'll be made starting in the morning. But we got to rectify that and clean that up.
Well, when you look at that, Coach, so if you go with that, we got the football with 152 left in the first quarter, backed up at our own 6. It took us into the second quarter, and then a short field there, and that that was huge. Just a short field, you just can't. Obviously, it's something you can't do.
No, you can't do that. And it affects you. You might not have. I don't think the young man looked at it as at that moment. Well, I'm not directly responsible for the 3 points, but indirectly you are, because if we get that ball on the 20-25, and even if we don't get a first down, we still punt it. They got to go farther to get 3 points, and so we too far in the stretch. Guys are working too hard, and we go over this. Every single day we practice. We work on special teams and we work on kickoff return, and all the rest of them. So, I talk to the staff, and we just got to make some decisions, and I make the tough decisions starting in the morning.
Well, obviously the teachable moment in that situation, awareness in that situation. What's the one thing you got to remember there?
Where your feet are. You got to understand where it is. Worst come to worst. When you notice the first one of the game, I said we fair caught it. That's because the last time we was there, the first time we got it, we fumbled it. So I said we at least gonna get an offense the first possession. And if I would have knew he was gonna make that decision, I would have had him just to fair catch all of them, because at least we get the possession on the 25-yard line. We ain't bagged up and we don't put ourselves in that situation. And so that starts with me. I got to do a better job with the personnel, and I'm definitely gonna get that corrected. In the morning.
So 7-6 game right there, Coach. We get the football at our 25-yard line, and then we were able to get a touchdown as Xavier Vaughn hit Ty Warren. He was banged up. Good to see him back, and I thought on both operations, to throw a lot of air under it, and then Warren running under it.
He's just getting his base up under him from a throwing standpoint. He's starting to get to these wideouts that he worked with every day after practice, and Coach Gales do a really good job just with all the practice components. So he's starting to know who his guys are. He knows who's the runners. He knows who the natural pass catchers, and so he did a really good job putting that football out there. Man, I'm so proud of Tyron. Tough people play. Here, and I told him what you need 2 hands for. You can catch it with 1 hand, and boy, he did a really good job running up on it, and putting 6 points on the board for us.
Yeah, as we're looking at it, for those that are watching it, good play fake and just put it up there and hung up, and nice fingertip catch.
That's a big time throw, big time catch. Great operations. O-line did a good job, and he moving and grooving, man. But we just glad for him to just suck that up. Hadn't played a lot of football. Tyron, only caught 1 touchdown in high school, ever. So every day he's getting better. So I can't wait to get them guys out tomorrow, man, and just continue to get better, continue to work, keep plugging at it.
So it was 14-6 at that point. So Grambling got the football with 9:23 left in the second quarter. And then they were able to move the football to the Braves' 20-yard line, and then Crowley out of the shotgun, intercepted by Stamarian Edwards, who was named the SWAC Defensive Player of the Week, a pick and 12 tackles on Saturday. So talk about that interception.
Yeah, he did a really good job of just staying, tied to the quarterback eyes. He knew he was going. He was getting pressured, and so he just did a good job of mirroring him, and the ball hit him in his hand. My thing to Steve is he got to score that. I had Steve in junior college. I've seen him take that ball and go 70 yards and score, jump over people with 1 shoe on. So, we good. We satisfied with the catch, but we got to score. He got to cut that ball across the grain. He got to put that ball in the box. We got to score that, and so. We'll continue to work on it, but it was just good to see him, all his hard work and pays off with a big play to get the offense the ball in good territory.
But there was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on the back end of that.
Yeah, the same deal. We part on the sideline and say we can't part in the sideline. We doing too much, So we just gonna start reading books.
So we were talking about that during the game. Emmanuel Barnes said it. He said, "Hey, it looked like they were out of the field to play." What was the explanation?
That was the same. Coach can't celebrate. He can't do that. So I could think the young lady, she thought he did something offensive. that we had. However, I just told them whatever it is, you can't do it no more. And so we done.
Well, we're done with that as we move on. 4:39 left in the second quarter. We got the football at our 25-yard line. Coach, I thought throughout the game, the 3-minute, of course, you look at the last drive, the 3-minute offense, you talk about the 2-minute offense, the 4-minute offense, 4:39 left in the second quarter, and we were able to get some things done, get it to the Grambling 42-yard line, but Xavier Vaughn's pass intercepted by Davis. Talk about that.
Yeah, and that's my call. I wanted a shot. We came to win. And I told, Coach, if we get to look, I want to see the big post regardless of the personnel out there. And kudos to the true freshman. I want to take a shot on him, number one. He did a really good job of going up and getting it. Thought Damon had an opportunity to make a play for us, but, for me, that was my call. We on the 50-yard line. I'm looking for blood. We didn't come to play for ties, and I understood what was at stake. Defense was playing well, so I knew they would, get us a stop. And so, that's what happened, and it just didn't pan out our way. The guy made a really good play.
So the chess match in the game of football, you see this at every level. In the NFL, you get a turnover, take a shot. You already got them on skates, and then you come off a turnover and try to get a quick touchdown there. That just puts the team in the deficit in even more so of a situation.
Yeah, more so just from a morale standpoint. Two things just happen bad in less than a minute. It's hard to kind of just rejuvenate and get yourself back going after that. And so that was kind of my mindset. We playing with house money. Don't nobody expect us to do nothing. And I want to show the kids that, hey, look, we're not playing for ties, or we're not playing to be close. And so that was me. I called it. Coach Gales dialed it up for me, and I said, let it rip.
So on that, Grambling got the football, but our defense got off the field, Coach, with 1:44 left, an opportunity to get some late points, and our D did just that, get off the field.
Yeah, we knew we had some timeouts if needed, and I knew they was going to try to push the ball down the field with Miles Crowley, and so they let it rip and did some things, uncharacteristically offensively, and gave us opportunity to get the football back. Malachi had those guys rolling up front, Spotville, and, just the secondary, man. They did a really good job of corralling, those wide outs in. And so we had an opportunity to get the football back, and we was going for points.
So it was 14-6 at halftime, Coach. Low scoring first half. We took it back. We had the big play going, Warren with a big catch, Sewell with a big run, defense bowing up here and there. 14-6. What was your thoughts at halftime?
It wasn't enough. I honestly thought, if this thing stayed close, the Go-So Eddie Rob will come pull this thing away from us. We got to get them 3 points right there at the end. Quarterback fumble the snap. We talking about playing football, big-time college football, regardless of, the perception of what we're doing. We got to do those things right. We got to be able to at least get an opportunity to miss the kick as opposed to not to get a chance to kick. And then on the other field goal, we at least got to get the ball off the ground to have an opportunity. That's 6 points that's out there that we could have, cushioned ourselves for the lead versus a good football team. So those are the things that we're hopping on. Everybody excited about the win. But as a coaching staff, we're saying we left way too much meat on the bone. In an environment like that, and where we're trying to go, we got to capitalize on that. So the good thing is they took, the little chewing that they got on Sunday, because it was a chewing. It wasn't all rainbows and excitement, in that team meeting room because of plays and scenarios like that. We know we left a lot out there.
Are you a superstitious person, Coach?
It depends. I got some things. We ain't gonna split the pole.
Okay. The reason why I asked that is because you talk about the ghost of Eddie Robinson. Of course, the Spinks jinx. People talk about that here. The Eddie Robinson jinx or whatever. The ghost of Eddie Robinson. You can see his face. Eddie Robinson Memorial Stadium. Who knows in the hole what could happen?
I'm telling you something about that end. I can remember the year when Lenore's footman. We up. I think like 17-6. He get ready to throw the ball, and the ball just fall out of his hand. And Foot got hands like Wilt Chamberlain, and the ball just falls out, and they get it and score. And I'm like, it's something about that end, man. I'm telling you, he chilling out, And so that's exactly what my mindset was. We can't let this thing be close. We got to do a better job from an operational standpoint of creating that distance if we're trying to play high-level football on a playoff run. And I know the team from a physical standpoint can do it. It's just the operational piece that we got to understand, guys. Football is played a certain way when you start to talk about one-game playoffs, and right now we're not doing it. And the good thing is we got opportunity to correct it and get better at it in the morning.
That fumble by Xavier Vaughn, looking at film, what caused that? Just anxious?
Yeah, he's too fast, and Steve is too fast. Steve, not really aware of how much time on the clock. He kind of shoots his back that early. Zay not set, and he's getting ready to step out, so he pulled out that thing too fast. And so, Coach Gales, when I know a lot of people probably think we're just talking, but every morning, you got center quarterback exchange right over there on the right side of the field that they're working on. And so we got to, regardless of what the situation is from a time standpoint, we got to get that snap. We got to spike it. And even if we miss the kick, we at least get a chance to attempt the kick.
Yeah, but you want to come out with 3. So we left, 6 points on the field at least. Could have had 14 more.
Yeah.
Left at least 6 points on the field.
Without a doubt. So I wasn't satisfied at all at halftime.
So we'll take a break right here. We'll look at the third quarter highlights, a low-scoring game. We'll break it all down. We'll look ahead to Southern University as well. 601-877-6595. You can text a question, 601-301-2611. On X, Tall Man Radio. We'll take a break right here. We'll be right back.
I feel like the education department here at Alcorn has prepared me for the future in the classroom.
We're a family environment who can guide you and will get you to where you want to be.
It's really easy to cultivate that one-on-one relationship with your professor or your advisor.
Our students will be able to go out and impact the lives of the people that they work with.
I was really glad I made the decision to come here.
What I would tell aspiring Alcornites, when you get here, you're not going to want to leave.
We are exactly what you think. We are not at all what you think. Past, present, and future, all in one. Because the best way to honor our history is to make history. General Motors, honored to sponsor the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Today, securing tomorrow.
All right, welcome back. We are live here on the beautiful campus of Alcorn State University. It's going to be a wild atmosphere down on the bluff. First place is at stake. Southern University Jaguars, and we'll talk about them coming up in a bit, but they're a team that bows up in the fourth quarter and overtime. You look at some of their 2 wins, Prairie View as well as Texas Southern. They pretty much pitched a shutout in the fourth quarter and overtime, a couple of OT wins. The final 30 seconds of that Texas Southern game. Coach, I was at the grocery store Saturday night when I got back. When I got out of the truck, it looked like Southern was down. It was over. I put the groceries in the truck. I turned the radio on, and Southern had won the game. I mean, wow, in just that amount of time. So you got to play it all the way through because you just never know what's going to happen in these things.
I'm telling you, it ain't over till it's over.
Wow, interesting. All right, so let's look at the third quarter, Coach. Opportunities, and you talked about it in the first half. Opportunities to really help ourselves, and even in the third quarter, I mean, the game was kind of settling in, and when you're on the road, you got to kind of keep going and keep rolling with it, and we're kind of stuck there. Both teams just kind of stuck in that third quarter.
Yeah, and it was a sign of just adjustments on both sides. You can't take anything away from that coaching staff. You got, Coach been in Nebraska and LSU, Dooley been all over the place. They got Rollins been a lot of places, and so they did a really good job making adjustments. Slowing down our run game. And we did a really good job of slowing down their pass game. And you see they started to transition to running the game more. So I thought that third quarter was just kind of like a boxing match, just a counter and second counter, and having all different type of adjustments and everybody just kind of filling each other out, for that third quarter. And also the heat. You look at their sideline, they got guys that's instrumental to their defense and offensive structures, limping off. We got guys just limping off. And I just thought the nutrition of that type of playoff atmosphere was just that third quarter and entailed, on both sides.
So what were you able to, what could you have done in that situation? Cramps, I mean, just seemed like on every other play you had that on both sides, and Grambling has turf. So it was already warm, and with the heat radiating off the turf, it feels even warmer than what the actual temperature is.
Yeah, I'm talking about it was burning up. So guys made adjustments. They took some of them tights off, took some of the clothes off. And I even went to the training staff, Sunday, and just told them I appreciate them because they helped win this football game. We got 2 starting tackles that's getting IVs, and we got Steve don't even play the third quarter pretty much. Mr. Charles, he had all those stats, and he missed almost the whole third quarter. But that training staff got those guys hydrated, got them back ready to play, and they was able to finish the stretch out well. So kudos to them, Mr. Rod and his staff.
Well, you talked about the little chess match in the third quarter. Grambling was able to get something going in the third with 6:03 left in that third quarter. Got it at their 37-yard line. 13 plays, Coach, 63 yards, Tolbert, the big back, wore number 24. I mean, he was a handful. We were talking about how you're able to slow him down or bring him down. That was troublesome.
Yeah, you see, it was kind of different because he hadn't played much. We was kind of keying on 9, and but that was a really good adjustment in a game like that where it was just tooth and nails. You notice he brought the bigger back in. We wasn't expecting it. You know, he had a high pass rate on second down, but Dooley did a really good job, you know, running the football on a lot of 2nd and 10 plays where it was almost 85 to 90% pass, you know, in his whole career. And so we had to make some adjustments, go to some odd front things to try to close it off so it wouldn't just, happen to us too explosive. But he did a really good job. And the big physical back like that, you know, that was all the Alcorn way when you talk about Aaron Baker and you talking about Leatherwood and all those guys, man. And so they had one. And so we had to do a really good job of making some adjustments, but getting a lot of hats to the ball to get him to the turf.
We've seen some big guys, whether Valley's quarterback, the backup quarterback, he was like 6'5", 250. And then you look at, Tolbert, 230. You know, I'm sure we're going to be seeing some of those big sizes the rest of the way. You know, what do you teach? What do you tell them in terms of trying to wrap up something like that?
You know, you just got to, go low, bite that mouthpiece, and you signed up for it. You know, tough players play. When at the end of the day, you can throw the technique out the window. We got to get them to the turf. And so I thought we did a good job. Our tackles was down almost 70% in the last 2 games, and you did a really good job. But sometimes, when you're trying to tackle those tight backs, especially when you talk about secondary guys, ain't a whole lot you can do.
So it was 14-12 with that score, and they obviously went for 2 and didn't get it. And it was 14-12, Coach, at the end of the third quarter. Of course, you want to get the win. Did you expect this low-scoring tussle when you kind of looked at Grambling on tape, looked at us? Did you expect it to be a high-scoring shootout, low-scoring? What kind of game did you expect?
I thought it was going to be a couple more points. Just overall looking at them and how explosive they were, and it wasn't no knock to our defense. It just when you look at us and how we played, even last year with 25-24. Every time we compete, it's adjustments here and there. When you're talking about offensive football and defensive football. But I know I've been around Dooley and played Dooley a lot of times, and he did a really good job of slowing the game down because we was, corralling the pass game. We was sacking him, almost every third snap. And so he did a good job of slowing it down and doing a really good job with adjustments and starting to run the football.
So 14-12 at the end of the third quarter, Coach. Grambling got the football at our 48-yard line after a 37-yard punt, and then they were able to settle for a field goal. Another situation, Coach, where we're able to get off the field and have them settle for 3. Talk about that particular drive.
Yeah, just that bend but don't break mentality. Steve had just got back in the fold. He was back. Sam Edison, was getting a lot of reps because Steve was out. A lot of guys, man, was just, chomping at the bit to get back out, and then Malachi held us down. But that was a big drive for them guys to get off the field with just only 3 points being scored.
So Grambling with the lead, Coach, 15-14. So again, I'm thinking to myself, we had an opportunity to really open this thing up, and next thing you know, bam, Grambling with the lead in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be, that type of game back and forth, and so I got all the faith in the world in Coach Gales, man. We worked together. It wasn't no doubt in my mind that if we just kept it close on both sides, I knew we had the type of team that had the wherewithal. When I looked around and looked in everybody's eyes, and they were still upbeat and they was energetic about what was going on, and Malachi was talking to the offense, I knew right then, we had a chance if we got it.
So on the next drive with 10:58 remaining, got the football at our 40-yard line. No huddle shotgun. Tyler Macon doing some stuff, and we saw Tyler Macon even at quarterback. I think it was 4 out of 6. So talk about that operation with Tyler Macon and getting Mako going.
Yeah, we had a situation where we wanted to get him some Wildcat stuff on tape, and Zay had kind of banged his ankle up a little bit. And so we know he can run, and we couldn't get it to him. We took some shots with him in the pass game and couldn't get it to him. And so I said, well, just go snap it to him, and we got a +1, meaning, they still got 11 guys. We made it 11-on-11 football. That safety and linebackers make some really good plays and tackles. But you see him just run through people, be really aggressive with the football. And I thought he did a really good job of kind of getting us some first downs, but also from a schematic standpoint, giving us a chance because we made the game go 11-on-11 now because they had to get them safeties down in the box to try to tackle him.
Fans are really excited to see Mako back there and actually do some good stuff at the QB position.
Yeah, he'll continue to do that. We're going to put him everywhere. You'll see him, at a lot of positions. That's our job, to put our best players in the best position to be successful. You see Truck back there running it. You see T throwing it, so them offensive minds, they're in the lab right now coming up with game plans to make sure we put our kids in the best position to be successful.
Well, that drive at the 10:58 mark stalled. So after a 42-yard punt, Grambling got the football with 2:31 left. Crowley sacked for 10 yards back at Grambling's 30-yard line, a fumble that Miles Crowley recovered. We had 4 sacks, Coach. Talk about the pressure and keeping Miles Crowley bottled up.
Yeah, it was just good to see Malachi and them guys, man, just chomp at the bit. So Eric Thomas, redshirt freshman, Gideon Spotsville, Caden Kennedy, man, they let loose up front. And that was the game we was waiting on them guys to really have a breakout game. And so kudos to them. And really just that whole defense. The backstory is we had 2 corners, that didn't play. Andrew Smith, on Thursday, tweaked his hamstring. He make the trip, just couldn't go, and then we got another corner. Napo have to start, and Ed, had a game the week before that wasn't, to our liking. But those guys really did an amazing job competing, and that's kudos to Coach Taylor. He did a good job of getting those guys ready. T. Haney, the sophomore, he played some snaps, but he tweaked his knee. But those guys fought, man, in a tough game in a really good atmosphere. So I'm just proud of the coaching staff and also the young adults who really went out there and gave it their all.
Well, our defense got off the field, so we got the football after a Schifano 32-yard punt with 3:26 left in the fourth quarter. And all I could think about, Coach, the 3-minute to 4-minute offense. You have a drill, you got the football, you spot it at the 35-yard line. You got 2 timeouts, 3:26 left. I think one practice you said 3:26 left. So talk about that operation. Knowing you have a field goal, you got your timeouts, got the football in good field position.
We do it every Wednesday. Every Wednesday. And so, I knew the stage was set. We prepared, we worked on it. When I got in the huddle, I just want to look in their eyes. The eyes, human behavior tell you a lot. And I knew that those guys was focused. That's why we brought Zay in. He's an older guy, cool, calm, and collective. But when you look at the trucks and the O-line, I told Coach, I said, how we going to finish it? We going to win by a touchdown or we going to make it close? And he said, what you want from me? I said, man, I want points. Put it in the box. And so let's roll. And he went on from there.
Wow. Pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't want to play for field goals. When you play for field goals, you kind of get conservative and you get yourself in a situation where the field goal too long, or it don't, it just don't pan out. We going to score 6 points.
Well, I thought the key to the drive was the first 3 plays, Coach. Damian Jones for 12, Damian Jones for 6, Damian Jones for 7 yards. Tyler Macon on the first end of those things. So that's 25 yards in 3 plays, and you set yourself for those first 3 plays, putting yourself in field goal position.
Yeah, well, what an amazing job by Damon. This time last year he was on the top field as a scout team guy, and here he is on scholarship making plays in one of the biggest games of his career, in a lot of careers. And so just for Coach to have that trust in him and be able to go to him and him to capitalize on it says a lot about the development piece of what Alcorn State football believes in. And also, it's an opportunity for you to come here and play regardless if you 3-star, 1-star, or twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. And as you can see, is Sewell on the 2nd and 11 play for 10 yards. Maybe the biggest play on the drive. 3rd down and 13, Coach. 3rd and 13. And I was worried about getting ourselves out of field goal range on that 3rd and 13 play. Xavier Vaughn, who's had a couple of 100-yard rushing games, a big 13-yard run to set us up for the field goal.
Yeah, he just kind of rocked them to sleep. He hadn't been running much, and so the linebacker, he forgot he really didn't spy him because he hadn't been running. And so once the A-gap was open, he took it to just try to get us closer, and that was a really smart-headed play and got us in a really good situation to be able to end it.
Yeah, and that set up the Kiani field goal. Just talk about that whole sequence right there. You get in his field goal range, and now you're setting yourself up for the field goal and the lead.
Yeah, for me, whether he made it or not, I knew we did our part and we do our part every day. The first part of practice when we go, we're going to kick. We do punts and we do field goal. Every single day we outside. So it wasn't for me whether he made it or miss it. If the universe wanted us to be successful and do it, then we knew we was prepared to because we kicked the football every single day. So my thing to the protection was no leakage. Hey, points on the line. This all that matters. And, hey, we do it every day.
Wasn't a thing of beauty, but it got through the uprights, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
What about the whole rocking the sleep thing? Our good friend Justin Burke, who was an Alcorn grad, was on the camera closest to me, and when he made that kick, and for those that are watching it, what do you think about that?
Nothing. Everybody was telling me he was going viral, so I was hoping it wasn't nothing bad. Not saying that, Noah's not a bad kid, but I ain't into social media like that. I'm like, what the fuss about? Is he tired? Is he got to kick this ball off? This game ain't over. That was my thing there on the sideline. This game ain't over.
Yeah.
And so, but that's good, for him to be in this league. Shout out to 1871 Collective who took that young man in. It's just amazing for them and for him to have that success and him be just a steward of that great organization and collective, man. That's awesome.
Well, that gesture, you know who started that, right? Steph Curry.
Oh, no,
Steph Curry making big threes with 2 seconds left. He put you to sleep. Game's over. Night. Game's over. So that's kind of what that's about.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that's cool. Noah got a little swag.
Well, that's the second time, Coach. I mean, Alabama State last year when things. Keani tied it up. Keani won it against Alabama. He's had some big moments.
Yeah, and we just blessed to have him a part of the staff, and he stayed. He could have left when the transition happened, but he was like that third or fourth call that I had to make sure that he was in line, with the mission and the vision of what we wanted to do. And just love him being here, every single day. And I think he said he close to breaking some kind of record, so I got to look into it. I definitely want to give him an opportunity to be able to do it. I feel like, when those opportunities come, we, without jeopardizing the game, anything as such, we owe it to these young brothers to be able to have a platform and to go in the history books. And so if he can show me documentation of it, man, we'll try to get that thing for him.
Well, after having the lead, Coach, we let it slip, but then we get it back. The word poise comes to mind. I mean, because you're on the road. We had the game in our sights, and then Grambling gets the lead. And you know how these things go. You're on the road. Momentum builds for the home team, but we're able to settle it down, get it right back, set ourselves up, and the field goal to win it. I thought we played with a lot of poise, especially on that last drive.
When we brought him in July, Mr. Charles, the mantra is fast. That's staying focused. The A is for attitude. The S is for sacrifice, and T is for toughness. That's physically and mentally. And I thought we showed that, that last drive.
Well, the Braves get it done, Coach. Defensively, we talked about Stamarian Edwards, Defensive Player of the Week, 12 tackles, 7 solo, and interception. Just talk about how the defense, slowing down this Grambling offense, scoring over 30 points. This team can score the football, and we're able to hold them to even less than half of that.
Yeah, I thought Coach Rowe, he grew up. I thought his staff, grew up being in that. He called a game and never wavered. The guys responded to him, got a lot of feedback from the laptops, shout out to the institution for allowing us to be able to do that on the new cutting edge, to make adjustments. But that whole staff defensively, did a really good job of putting the game plan together, and the guys rallied. Good to see Malachi and all of them. We out there with really 2 corners, based on the injury report and things of guys just couldn't play. And so just couldn't be even, more proud of them guys to be able to bow their neck and get stops.
Offensively, Xavier Vaughn, 10 of 18, 149 yards. We had 156 net yards rushing. So offensively, Coach, what was the challenge with this Grambling defense? Some pretty decent numbers, not the gaudy numbers in terms of running the football. We were averaging 250 the previous 4 before Grambling, but was Grambling defense a little tougher than we just looked at?
Yeah, and when you got an off week, you sit there and you can comb through all the film and be able to, come and put things in. And they gave us some different looks that, wasn't on tape. I'm just glad we don't get to play anybody right now who's got an open week, because you got a lot of things to prepare for and people can put things in at any time. And so I thought that once they settle down, he showed he can be in the pocket, and make big-time throws. He didn't run around because they did a good job, spying him. But I thought, we got to be able to win games like this. But we also got to be, to win shootouts. And so I thought that they played complimentary football. We turned it over, but not in a situation where it was detrimental to us. But their thing to, on Sunday was, Coach kind of ripped them a little bit, because that wasn't the brand of football that we expected them to play. We know we left a lot of plays out there, and so nobody was satisfied about it. The good thing is you can be able to celebrate a little bit after the win, but we know we left a lot of plays out there, so they'll be chomping at the bit this week to get out and fix it.
So in the immediate aftermath of the win, you were emotional, you were happy, get on the bus, come back home, sleep on it a little bit, and then come Sunday, it was a totally different Cedric Thomas.
Yeah, totally different. We didn't get much. I didn't get much sleep, and the coaches didn't either, because when I went in, to break it down, a lot of them was already in, so I already knew, what the mindset was. Great win, but we left too much out there. We know what kind of ball club we got. To some, it might have just been happy hooray just because we did it, but for us, now that ain't good enough, and so we know it ain't good enough, and we didn't put that product out there, and the young adults understood that. So Sunday when we had the meeting, we expressed that. They nodded and knew it, and so we expect that to be fixed when we come out in the morning.
Well, I know when it comes to penalties, we talked about it, 39 penalties, the previous 4. We had 8 on Saturday. Some calls that were head scratchers, delay a game on our defense. Just talk a little bit about some of that stuff.
Yeah, that one I didn't understand. They said we made a gesture inside the tackle box to make the center snap the ball early, which people do it against us and we move and the penalty go against us, and so I don't know. We just gonna keep working, keep getting better. But the ones we gotta fix that I know we can and we'll fix is. The celebration, on the sideline. I don't think we're going to be able to celebrate at all, Mr. Charles. We're going to have to close the club sideline if it's going to cost us, 15 yards. And I'll do what's best for this team if need be.
Where can you celebrate then?
I don't know. I see everybody else celebrating. I'm just trying to figure out what can we have fun. But I won't let that. Coming down the stretch, you can't do things like that. Those 15 yards, will cost you games. And so, it starts with me and end with me. And so if we got to cut it out and wait till after the game, then that's what we have to do.
We'll take a time out here. We'll get to the questions, the calls, the texts, and the tweets. Some of those have come in. We'll get to those, and we'll look ahead to Southern University and the pesky Jaguars. This series, Alcorn and Southern, goes back to 1951. There's been some classics. Arnold Walker with a walk-off run to beat Southern University, sending everybody home. Lenore's Footman coming off the bench in the muck and the mire at A.W. Mumford Stadium. Had 300 yards rushing.
Yeah.
So it's Alcorn Southern rivalry. I think it's going to be something special with first place on the line. So we'll get to that. We'll get to your questions coming up after this. Timeout on the Head Coach Cedric Thomas Show.
At Alcorn, there is a closer relationship between the faculty and the students.
We got with my organic chemistry professor. He actually stepped outside of the classroom for extra hours one day, and he sat with us and he answered all of our questions.
We prepare the students to face what is out there in the real world.
And I'm actually learning here. I feel like teachers are actually helping me.
All the teachers tend to know everybody. When the teachers know everybody, you can always have a relationship with the teachers and you can always meet them for help.
Can I get the now bar, please? $1. Have a good one. Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
Got it.
I'm Samuel L. Jackson.
All right, we welcome you back to the Cedric Thomas program. Glad you can join us. Coach, I was thinking about special teams. We had a little situation where we had a pooch kick. Talk a little bit about that situational football, little short pooch kick that gave Grambling some decent field position.
No, that wasn't no pooch kick, Mr. Charles. He just muffed it. That wasn't, he got to kick the ball out there, man. And you see he didn't kick no more after that. We can't kick 20-yard punts and put the ball in the middle of the field so guys can return. And Frank had been doing good, but Eli came in and made some kicks and turned the football over. So, like I told him, it'll be a game-time decision from here on out, depending on who will start this week.
So that was just that was a mistake.
Yeah, he just shanked it. He just shanked it. So, and he got, Coach Wilson do a really good job every week. You got to get that ball to the right. It's a purple call. You got to get it to the right. He kicked it right down the middle, and just a blessing that them guys covered it because that could have easily been a touchdown. That ain't the operation. So. He understands it. So Eli, finished the game from a kicking standpoint and did a good job, and it's just good we got two. But we've been through that. We talking about this playoff stretch. We got to do better in personnel standpoint. Put them guys out there who can get it done.
All right, let's go to the text line, 601-301-2611. Coach, congratulations on the win. Mako threw a pass in the end zone that was intercepted. He was throwing one on the sideline and had a DB to keep the ball from the defender, and another pass down the field that was out of reach. The question is, why not use a taller receiver like McGee, Warren, and others for these jump ball passes?
Well, they really wasn't jump ball passes. We like the matchup. Mako can run well. We weren't expecting him to have to jump up for it. We was expecting him to just kind of run away from the guy because he's a really good, he's a really good receiver and a really good fast person. And so the intentions was for him to run past the guy and not to jump over him. And so we'll think about that like we did with Tyron Warren. You saw he had opportunity to catch that same type pass, and so he'll continue to work on some of his wide out stuff, and we'll get him, put him in better situations where he can have opportunities to make plays on the football.
Another Tex coach, the team played with heart and spirit. The best part was that they stayed in the game and never gave up. When they went down, they climbed back up and won. That was huge.
But for us, it's a lifestyle. that's going to happen. Mom going to leave, dad going to leave, and eventually we going to leave. And so we just talk about that, outside of the X and O's. You got to be able to walk this universe with those things in mind. And so when bad things happen, we got to get off the mat, and they had some bad things happen early in this year, and there's going to be some more bad things happen. So it's how you respond to it, and I was just excited that those guys responded in that manner, because regardless of the football aspect, they got to get out in society and be productive citizens, and they got to use these same characteristics to get them through.
Good game, coach, and I'm trying to pull the text back up. I accidentally. There we go. Good game, coach. We're looking forward to Southern. We look better on the kickoff return Saturday and other areas too. Getting better overall as a team each and every week. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, that was a bonehead mistake on that kickoff return. That cost us 3 points. And so I told him, we'll have a new person out there starting this week. But the special team has been huge. I knew them guys was going to continue to work. Coach Wells does a really good job. Coach Robeson, just all the aspect of it. That gives us opportunity to win. We're not going to change the format. We may have to change and tweak personnel here and there. But we're going to continue to work on it, and it starts in the morning.
From TJ Mayfield, good win, coach. Both teams are coming off high intensity emotional wins. How do you ensure that we don't have an emotional carryover going into Southern? I guess the Alcorn Southern rivalry is so big, so huge, and it's homecoming. They won a big emotional game at Texas Southern. The last 30 minutes, last 30 seconds of that TSU game was just crazy, unbelievable. So they're riding high, we're riding high. So how do you keep the players grounded if you can?
Our whole mantra this week will be used to be's don't make no honey, and 11, 12, 23. That was the Texas Southern game from last year. So we'll show them clips of that. The coaching staff already know, so they understand. If you bask in the laws of what you've done in the past, then you'll feel like you felt on that Sunday after that game. And so talk to Steve today, talk to Malachi, some of the leaders. And if it ain't about Southern, we ain't dealing with it. And so as a coaching staff, even us, because a lot of time, coaches get caught up in social media, they get caught up in, what's going on. And I told the coaches, how we come out and play Saturday going to be indicative of how we prepare, as a staff. And so it's going to be foot to the metal. We got to give it all we got. Is one playoff game win for us, and we got to get it done. And so we'll be all gas, no breaks. This week, and I want to see the coaching staff and equipment managers and everybody in the building, to be on task with what we're doing.
Well, the other part about this too, former coach Fred McNair on the other sideline too, so that adds a little bit of whatever you want to add to the bowl there. And so you add homecoming, first place on the line, add Mumford, where we've had some memorable games, and you add that to it as well. Makes it and it could be an exciting Saturday.
Well, I mean, it makes it exciting for everybody else, but Coach Mack can't play. I can't play either. So that ain't, just the pageantry itself, going to be what it is. That ain't going to do nothing.
So, I look at the overall game, coach, against Grambling. It was emotional. We hadn't won since 2006, but I just thought we really hung in there, had a chance to, I wouldn't say put it away, but put more distance between ourselves. And as I say, when you get these teams down, you got to get it done, because we've seen teams get off the mat. Southern has gotten off the mat twice in the fourth quarter against Prairie View and Texas Southern. So, when you get teams down, you got to figure out a way to put the thing away.
Yeah, that's why we weren't excited about the win, after the fact. Once we got in there and checked that film out, that ain't what we coaching. That ain't what we doing. And so they understand that. Coach Gales had a heart-to-heart with the offense. Coach Rowe got the defense, and we all collectively talked to the kicking game. We knew that game shouldn't have been what it is, and kudos to, Grambling. You can't take anything away from them. But we're not playing our best brand of ball yet, and that's the good thing. We get a chance to go out in the morning and right our wrongs and continue to get better, continue to grow, and put that perfect game together. And what better week to be able to go, down in hostile territory again and be able to do it, this Saturday.
Well, we'll take a time out here. We'll look at some other questions that have come in, and we'll look ahead to the Southern University Jaguars. Noah Bowden, who was at Grambling, we're going to be looking at him. He pulled his team out of the ashes in the final 30 seconds against Texas Southern. He'll probably get the start on Saturday. They've got a freshman in T-Set who's trying to figure things out, and you got Coach Terrence Graves, the head coach of Southern University, who won the Bayou Classic, obviously is the head coach there, and he's the only guy to be the winning coach at Grambling and Southern University. So Terrence Graves, we're going to be looking at him coming up on Saturday as well. So we'll take a break. We'll be right back as we preview the Jaguars here on the Cedric Thomas Show. We'll be right back.
You don't fight fair, so we'll just fight harder.
We didn't come here to play around.
You're going down.
Honestly, I hate you.
I'm stronger than you.
I'm more determined than you.
We're going to beat you, cancer.
Because the American Cancer Society
is on our team.
And together, we're unstoppable.
My name is John Calipari.
I'm Roy Williams.
I'm Jim Boeheim.
I'm Tubby Smith. And I'm a coach versus cancer.
Founded in 1920, the Southwestern Athletic Conference has produced some of the most iconic names in sports. Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Alcorn State, Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M, Grambling State, Jackson State, Mississippi Valley State, Prairie View A&M, Southern, Texas Southern, and the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff have united to embark on a new era of greatness. The Southwestern Athletic Conference, building champions for life.
All right, we welcome you back to the Cedric Thomas program as we look ahead to the Jaguars. Coach, this Southern team had McNeese on the ropes in the fourth quarter. McNeese scored 21 in the fourth to win 21-7, beat Savannah State, lost to Jackson State 33-15. They beat Prairie View in overtime 31-24, lost to Nichols, and then 22-19 win over Texas Southern. Let me see here. Let me find my notes here, Coach. In the last 30 seconds of that Southern game last week, Southern had no timeouts. Texas Southern shanked a punt, and Bowden hit Quay Davis with 18 seconds left. In overtime, Texas Southern misses a field goal. Southern doesn't. They win the game. All in the last 30 seconds of that game. How wild was that? I'm sure you looked at the film of that game, and you look at this Jaguar team. I mean, defensively, pretty good. You look at the matchup, Coach. We are number 3 offensively in the conference. Southern number 2 defensively. We're the number 2 offensive team running the football. Southern's number 4. So some interesting numbers there. But what do you see in this Southern Jaguar team, a team that seems to get off the mat the last couple of games in the final minutes?
I see a football team that takes on the head coach aura. You know, Coach Graves, man, he's a swag, black college coach through and through, tough, hard-nosed. Regardless of what the situation and circumstances, you talked about him winning the Bayou Classic at both of those schools. That says a lot about him and his temperament and his coaching style. And so those guys fighters. I remember when he was at Mississippi Valley, he used to come and kind of mentor me, when I was at Mississippi Delta, and we got a really good relationship. And so I see a good, tough, gritty ball club that just ain't going to stop until, all the time is off the clock. And, offensively, they do some really good things, moving the football. Got a quarterback that's really, athletic, play 2 of them. Got a freshman that's going to be the future of this league if he stay. Rhymes seemed like he been here forever. Man. And same thing with Quay Davis. I think Quay Davis done played for every SWAC school in the league. But a really good football player, and defensively, I think the second best defensive end, and I don't care if y'all tell them, because I think Malachi Bailey is the best end in this league. And so they got some guys that can really hump it, long and pretty and athletic. And so we got our hands full. We got a really good football team that we got to go play, and we got to be prepared.
So you look at Noah Bowden, Coach, who, he transferred, obviously, from Grambling. There were some other quarterbacks in front of him. And Southern, in the quarterback position, you got a freshman and then you've got the veteran. And so Noah Bowden at times has looked good and other times hasn't. But in the fourth quarter, some of these games, he has found a way to make plays and pull his team out of the ashes.
Yeah, that says a lot about, just his DNA. He'll rise up, when the time counts the most. And so for him to throw that strike, to Quay at the end, I knew, where it was going. And he did a good job of being accurate with it. And so you watch him against Jackson just kind of run out of time. He's kind of chomping at the bits to try to be able to pull himself back, in a formidable opportunity to win that game, but run out of time. But just a really good quarterback when it counts the most, and so we got to do a good job with him and the youngster, being able to corral them guys and make sure we do a good job of getting after them.
Well, last couple of times, Coach, in Baton Rouge has been tough. A walk-off field goal, and then we were stopped on a 4th and 1, questionable spot. We don't get the first down. Southern walks off with a victory there. A couple of tough losses in Mumford the last couple of times.
Yeah, and I was a part of it. I gave up 21 points the first half, and so I felt like I had a lot to do with that loss. So it's, I got a little chip on my shoulder too to be able to go back and right our wrongs.
Interesting there. The week of work, Coach, this big rivalry game. I mean, look, we got a handful of weeks left in the regular season. Doesn't get any better than this if you're a SWAC fan. First place is on the line with us in Southern, and then in Jackson, the early game, Florida A&M, Jackson State, first place on the line. Got some teams lurking and lingering, just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. This is what it's all about. This is what makes this stuff exciting.
Yeah, this is what we put ourselves, in situations to be able to do, and that's what I told the guys. Who put themselves in it? They respond, we did, and I asked them who get themselves out, and they say we do. That's just it. And so you want to have opportunity coming down the stretch, regardless of what the outcomes or the early games were. We're just looking at a really good ball club that improves every single day that they go outside. And so I tell them guys, it's my job to just, show them what it looks like from an organization standpoint and a structure standpoint, and they take heed to it. But they go around and they fly around every single day and get better. So I think we got a lot of meat left on the bone, Mr. Charles. We still ain't playing our best football. And so I know those guys are chomping at the bits to get out here today. Well, get out tomorrow and be able to continue to work and get better. And play this really good football team we got to take care of.
Many memorable moments, Alcorn and Southern University. You go back to 93, the Charlie Ward game. You go to 94 and just Norris Footman, Arnold Walker. I mean, so many great memories, Coach, when Alcorn and Southern get together, whether it's here or at Mumford, but a lot of good moments down there.
Yeah, I'm just blessed and honored to be a part of it. My tenure in this league has been tremendous in having some of these relationships, but I never would have thought it. Watching Mississippi Valley and Southern, watching Mississippi Valley and UAPB, watching Mississippi Valley in Alcorn State, that I would be a head coach in this league, sitting here being able to tell some of my guys the stories of me going down playing Southern for homecoming. Man, what a blessing. God is good, and I just appreciate this university for giving me opportunity, Dr. Cook, the board, and everybody. So it's going to be special, and I hold it dear to my heart and take pride in it. I'm good with all the criticism and all that. I understand the job is dangerous, from that standpoint, but we're going to continue to work and get better. I got a good ball club that's going to continue to chomp at the bits and not just do it for them. They're going to do it for the ones that's vested so they can make everybody proud, because I know it was a lot of people that went to church on Sunday with that chest stuck out a little bit farther knowing that they got that win.
And I tell you what, you got to come ready to play. What about that Friday night game, Coach, before I let you go? UAPB and Prairie View. I mean, we said it on this show last week. UAPB, they're slowly coming in on a Friday night on a short week. They lose one of their best defensive players, a tough injury there, but they get off the mat at home on a Friday night, a short week, and they beat Prairie View. It just shows you got to come ready to play. Texas Southern was ready to play. They were 30 seconds away from beating Southern University. Some crazy games, some wild games. You got to play from start to finish.
That's this league. That's this league, and it's kudos to the coaches and administration for allowing it. Everybody to be, just well equipped to be able to go do that traveling on a Friday. You called it. You said UAPB was going to, had a chance to get him. I didn't believe it, but man, that quarterback and that wideout, I didn't feel bad at all when he did what he did to them. Looking at what he did to us.
And the UAPB's got some more games to go. Southern's got to play them, so there's a lot of football left, and you just got to take it 1 week at a time. Coach, let's go get them, man.
We'll do it.
That's Braves head football coach Cedric Thomas here on the Cedric Thomas program. Glad you can join us after a big win. First place is on the line. Homecoming at Mumford. Get there early. The parade starts at 8. I think they sent out a post about the homecoming activities. The parade starts at 8 a.m. Last time I was there, it was 2.5 hours in the line getting over the hump from start to finish. And so plan accordingly. For our producer, Jamario Brooks, Cedric Tillman, I'm Charles Edmond, Braves head football coach Cedric Thomas. Off week next week. We will be here to recap the Southern game. Hope you have a good week. We'll talk to you soon. So long.